GamingBolt presents 14 times games didn't hide their cheating well. Though we live in a world where Deep Blue can win against a Chess Grandmaster, the fact remains that the computer is inherently never going to be as good as a human player who understands the systems of a game. They are fundamentally handicapped by their nature, so game AI cheats far more than we think in order to close that gap. A good game will never let the player see this, since nothing shatters the illusion faster than seeing how the sausage is made. But then, there are these games. These 14 games weren't careful enough to keep us from behind the curtain. Share your examples in the comment section below. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's Punchout. Iron Mike's legendary performance in the world of boxing is as well documented as his fall from grace and infamous tattoo, but his early appearance in the world of Nintendo has gone down as one of the moments that would define Nintendo hard. In a display somewhat similar to real-life events, the AI was only able to deliver KO punches against the player character Little Mac for the first round. His fast, hard-to-read movements made just surviving long enough to have a shot against Tyson difficult enough, but unless you were omnipotent, you weren't going to last long anyways. Taboo. Super Smash Bros. Brawl. The supersized Sumo Slam series that shot Nintendo right into Evo had a lot on its plate in the follow-up to the still heavily played and highly respected bane of working Nintendo GameCube controllers everywhere with the Wii entry, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. While the third title in the series is somewhat of a black sheep, the Subspace Emissary mode offered a unique experience in the series, capped off by a battle against a totally new threat. Taboo, something of a Super Smash Bros. Knockoff of Dr. Manhattan, was found at the tail end of the Great Maze, and his Red Rings of Death attack gained infamy for asking pinpoint dodging of players within a Smash engine that didn't allow for that kind of accuracy with much ease. His screen nuke ended many runs and likely resulted in many broken GameCube controllers, almost as much as Melee itself. Brainiac from Injustice 2. Fighting games are historically bad for having final bosses designed to destroy quarters, but Brainiac from the DC fighter by way of Mortal Kombat was an extra kind of cheap. The brainy megalomaniac is found in his own mothership, which he naturally has full and instant control over, meaning that you don't just fight against Brainiac and his attacks, but the tentacles he can bring out of anywhere which can't be blocked and are hard to dodge and are quick enough to be used as a punish. It's fighting not only one character, but almost like fighting two. Arm Wrestling. Final Fantasy VII. Taking on the arm wrestling minigame sees Cloud take on a series of opponents in arm wrestling matches with rock, paper, scissors type mechanics in a fairly simple game. Then, Stage 4 happens. The enemies will start to give damage even to a cancelled out even attack, swinging the odds drastically out of their favor. If you manage to beat it anyways, nobody makes it through Stage 5. Quite literally, the enemy is immune in Stage 5 against anything you can throw at it. Battle Facilities. Pokemon series. The true test of a trainer always comes in the post-game in the Pokemon series. Once you've become the very best, like no one ever was, you get to see just how much further you have to go with your journey to be a Pokemon master. Even as you climb the ladder and take down more and more trainers within the battle facility, somehow some will have an even more perfectly countered team to yours than some, even though neither should realistically have that knowledge. Players with hacked monsters that hold moves and abilities the game should realistically not be prepared for or know about will be countered as well. Metal Gear Solid 5, Soviet Mechanized Unit. While the rest of the game focused on and encouraged you to hone your sneaking skills, leaving you to likely invest heavily into the development of Venom Snake's ability to remain undetected, the late game of Metal Gear Solid 5 turns that on its head with Mission 45. The Soviet mechanized unit that attacks Snake at the deserted palace in Afghanistan is no joke and can easily level a piece of cover and blow tiny bits of Snake across the sand without being properly prepared. And you may very well not be properly prepared, since the mission begins without warning and without a chance to change your equipment following a totally unrelated side op. I guess he should have kept his extra body armor in the chopper. Mario Kart series. AI ignores everything. It's not just that annoying blue shell your little brother threw on that last lap that makes Mario Kart seem like it can be a bit unfair at times. Throughout the series, rubber banding is used liberally to keep players and computer racers close, with Mario Kart 64 and Mario Kart 7 being particularly bad offenders. If they're off-screen, some games will let AI players instantly recover from being hit by an item, or just clip through the hazard completely. There's documented times where the games have granted immediate or constant item access, abusing quirks of items and sticking to racing lines like glue when it suits them. Undertale Sands. Undertale might have gained its cult status through the charming dialogue and memes, creating a rather overbearing fandom, but it earned that kind of respect through some mind-bending ways the game takes the fourth wall and shatters it into the smallest of pieces. The friendly Sands is taken on at the tail end of one route of the game, where you get to see just how terrifying he can be. He's a loose cannon skeleton who doesn't play by the usual video game rules. He'll use his pinch attack right out of the gate while you're still reading his monologue, and he'll openly mock you for how many times you've died against him, while attacking you again during your turn, and totally ignoring your defense if he wants to. Let's just be glad that the cartoon characters are on our side. Dark Souls, Ornstein and Smo. Dark Souls is already a difficult game, which we've already talked quite a bit about in the past. And though the core conceit of the series relies on it remaining fair to the player, the match against the towering Ornstein and Smo throws that out the window in a few ways. First is the simple fact that the game is asking you to take on a 2 versus 1 match, with a combat system which is designed to track a single foe at a time, heightening the already stressful encounter. Should you have the brilliant idea of trying to kill the two simultaneously as well, a rather reasonable strategy one would assume, Dark Souls simply won't allow it, and one will immediately return to full health upon killing the other. Fire Emblem series. No fog of war for enemies. Before the series was saved from Nintendo putting the series into the same dark hole that F-Zero fell into, Fire Emblem wasn't afraid to show some strategic depth through elements like fog of war. The term was popularized through real-time strategy titles like Warcraft, and just like in those titles, players would occasionally be kept from seeing where the enemy was, outside of the immediate area of their units. While critical information about the enemy units is denied to you, the AI is fully aware of where each and every unit of yours is, and takes liberal advantage of that knowledge to pick off any wandering units with a perfect counter. Grand Theft Auto series. Ultra Cops. You can't run, hide, or gun down the feared enemy of all criminal masterminds everywhere, the Ultra Cop. The Grand Theft Auto series has some well-known secrets, but the recurring Ultra Cop cannot be reasoned with, and will begin to hunt the player if they reach a high enough wanted level in at least several games in the series. You can try to fly away until Ultra Cop busts you in midair. Bullets can just fly through Ultra Cop if you even get the chance to take the shot. Is he a glitch, or is he just a rare game occurrence? Nobody really knows besides the team at Rockstar. What we do know is this: Ultra Cop does not forgive, Ultra Cop does not forget, and Ultra Cop will take about $500 for bail. Persona series. Enemies immune to the impossible. The subconscious anime adventures of the Persona series have their teenage protagonist fighting against the dark bits of mankind's psyche as they try to solve a mystery or fix society. Apparently, there's more than a few of us with quite hardy souls out there, because among the many elements that attacks can take, Almighty is supposed to be the one that none can have any control over, whereas one can be strong or weak against others, such as fire, physical, and darkness. That doesn't fly for specific shadows seen within Persona 3, 4, and 5, some of whom are inexplicably even immune from the effects. Starcraft 2 Co-op. No AI build times. While you're stuck having to construct additional pylons, you and your teammate are counting on the game maintaining the same rules it has over the rest of the game within the unique Archon mode. The co-op experience theoretically could double the possible inputs per second for a practice team, creating a monster of an army with 2 generals behind it. In a perfect example of the advice mentioned in the opening, the CPU in Archon mode has been caught cheating in the most glorious fashion, warping new units into the field immediately and without any consideration for normally considered build times to bring these into the game. Neo. Hino Inma. The electrifying Hino Inma is one of the earliest challenges that players face as a fresh samurai in Neo, and also one of the most infamous from the game. Stay at range and she'll send out waves of energy that can paralyze you. Getting close in her standard attacks can also paralyze you. The last thing you want to happen in a game like Neo is to be left open even for a few seconds, since it will almost always spell the end of your run, unless you knew to pack some healing items for the paralysis ahead of time. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.